All right, where were we? Hello, everybody. It's System Chalk with the 12th episode, I believe, of Lord Percival Stabbe, the physician. So I'm a little bit closer to the previous episode, so I'm not going to have as much review. And then the previous one did have a little bit sort of more chattiness and lore, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing. But for those of you who prefer to see a little bit more progress in the videos, that's going to be one of my goals this time around. And with that in mind, let's spend under a minute prepping and let's just jump into it. Now, there's a couple things that I need to take care of. I need to figure out what I want to do with my work verb. I need to figure out what I want to do with my talk verb. Otherwise, we're still upgrading our lore. We're trying to sell off some items in our inventory. But the real goal here is to try and summon a percussigan. Now, I believe the rose pearl dust was not sufficient, and I'm not quite ready to use the witch kist oil to sell or to get a new percussigan. So in this case, I'm going to go back to the Institute to just build up some funds. Obviously, we're going to be heading out to the on expedition soon. So there is a dank and clinging smell to the Institute halls that never quite leaves one. Perhaps it is the paint, perhaps it is the patience, perhaps it is something in the walls. Now, I am in a little bit of a tricky spot with my Callagine here. My preference would be to take a heart follower and get them to get rid of some of this notoriety. The difficulty is that because I have a Callagine running around now, I need to do something to preserve it. Right now, my Explore verb isn't available for it to go searching around. That's what I would normally use it for, except, of course, if I do that, then I'm not going to be able to get the next location. So in this particular case, we're going to have a chat with the Callagine. Not everything from the Mantis can speak, but everything can understand mortal speech, even once it has passed the white door. I don't believe I can give it... Yeah, I can't send it on cult business, so I actually need to give it a specific order. We don't really have anything for it to do right now, so we're just going to chat with it and keep it in the world a little bit longer. Now, I do need to use my prisoners. We've got plenty of time still, but I do want to kind of keep that in mind as far as sort of my next few dream movements are concerned. I am going to note that we are sick. We are going to need to deal with the health at some point, but you know, it's just as long as I don't let the betrayed followers expire, quite literally, I'll be fine. So I've increased my mastery of the lore of the knife, which we call by its aspect edge. One of the biggest challenges with these expiring as well is I believe these will become something that counts as notoriety if I let them sort of perish in the closet. Whereas if I sacrifice them, I suppose there's just either nothing left or it can't be traced back to me. So it looks like we just... this may not always be what happens, but as far as the health is concerned, it doesn't seem like there was that much of a consequence so far as using it for the upgrade. Now, I have a little bit of a decision to make here. I can try reading some of this existing lore, or I can try and upgrade the lionsmith's names. Now, under normal circumstances, I would be reading the books, but given the fact that upgrading our lore is potentially going to push us closer to a major goal that we want as far as recruiting some of these renegades, this is one of these cases I'm actually willing to take on the stronger or the more difficult challenge. So here, practical experimentation will use the health. Knowledge we need either... Looks like we just straight up need erudition, which we do not currently have. Had I done some more commissions, we would have it, but I don't. I didn't and I don't. So I think what we'll have to do for starters... So there's a couple things I can do to provoke erudition in terms of using lantern followers and such, but the most direct way is just simply to read whatever is to hand. The world is awash with printed words. Even the newspapers contain knowledge sometimes. And we will carry on. Just took a look at the time. It's actually quite late here, but we should be able to get through it without too much trouble. The auctioneer's gavel bangs. My item has sold for nothing. So we'll continue on just sort of selling Oriflamme, selling the texts for now. The biggest reason for this is for sort of the same reason why I didn't use one of my secret histories before. You never know when a season of ambition is going to come up, and right now I'm just simply not equipped to go on an expedition. Well, I am, but like not in the way that I would normally want to be. So I'm really waiting for a second summoning, and right now I don't have any knock influence to do that summoning. So in this case, we're just gonna bide our time. It won't take too long, but I want to make sure that I do these things in the right order. Alright, this illness has damaged my health. I'll need to rest before I fully recover. So, nothing really to do with that right now. So, this is a great example about why I behave the way that I do. You know, just because you got a good feeling about it doesn't mean that you're going to be right. My lover and I contend in the spaces above and beneath the flesh. I must match their intensity. Okay, so an imperative of appetite, that is Grail influence. Now, there's nothing saying that I can't bring in Azim, and actually Azim would give me something very helpful. However, here's how I sort of see this. This is not the only place that I can get Grail influence. And to be completely honest, so think about what it takes to get a prisoner. So the sorts of things that you need to do to get a prisoner are either going to generate notoriety, or you're going to have to give up something sort of precious to you. In this particular case, it's the, it would be one of your followers. So, and the reason I say something precious to you is because you have a limited number of followers. If you start losing too many of them, you're going to have to find other ways of getting them to do of accomplishing the things that followers would normally do for you. So on a circumstantial basis, I can definitely see why you would want to pick up a Grail influence. But in the grand scheme of things, saying, would you be willing to get a notoriety so that you can get something Grail-oriented, it's not the best trade-off for me. So while I'm tempted to take this because it will give me the summoning, I think it's a little too... I think there's other ways that I can get what I need out of this, and so it's a little bit too much of a sacrifice. More importantly, too, I'm still trying to get some information about what's available behind both doors, so if I do that, I'm not able to see what the Mallory and the Chamber of Ways would have given us. So, as usual, we're just going to go to the Mallory because it seems to have produced more of the things that I kind of regret. This is the regret minimization approach, to say, I've said more often in the Mallory, oh, I wish I had that. Or sorry, that card in the Mallory has always made me say, oh, I wish I had that, than whatever's been in the Chamber of Ways. Okay, so this is one of those examples, actually, the Iotic Essence. In the later operations of the Forge, the Madrigard yields to the true Forge of Days, and the essence begins to redden. Someday, perhaps, it will not, but for now, we have this. Last night in the Mansis, I visited the Mallory, from whose fires one does not emerge unchanged. The Forge's light fell upon me, and my heart boiled, and when I woke my blood burnt within me, so that I had to shed it in a cup before it overwhelmed me, and lo, 10 drops of it were not blood exactly, unless it be the blood of the sun. Perhaps I found the cup, and the blood is not mine, the Forge Seer's memory. So, first of all, very powerful Forge item, but also quite valuable. But now we're starting to kind of see the contours of the different patterns and different approaches. So if I can find a somewhat reliable way of getting the Iotic Essence, now we have a way to start summoning things like King Crucible without needing to wait for certain types of influence. So I think because we've got 200 seconds left on the Follower Betrayed, I think we're just going to bite the bullet and pay for the medicine. The medicine is dark and bitter as tar. It would be easy to suspect I'm being poisoned. And we sold one of our books, so one more auction at Oriflamme's for the ciphered journal of Alessandro Lacrosse. And we'll see what we can get for it. Now, one drawback about talking with the Callagine so much is that it is a reasonably powerful moth creature, and so there is always the risk of old unhappy far-off things, although, of course, if that happens, we'll just use it for painting. And once again, because I'm not necessarily... I do still have one Mystique sticking around, and I really don't want to build up as much... I don't want to build up a lot of Mystique because we are going to be going on a bunch of expeditions. I think working at the Institute is preferable to the commissions right now. Enid prefers to close her eyes rather than look at me. She says it hurts too much to look. She says it with such longing that I can't take offense. So here we got a contentment, and I always seem surprised by this, but I suspect we've had it happen before. In this case, we just got a fleeting reminiscence. The contentment is nice, but we don't have any dread that we need to get rid of right now, so it's, you know, it's not incredibly important, but nice to have nonetheless. All right. Whenever the principle of lantern sheds its light, I may recall additional scraps of knowledge. The words contain knowledge, and now I contain it. It is a little like theft, a little like feasting, and a little like the progress of an infectious disease. Which, the infectious disease we're getting rid of at the dream slot. Okay, so like we said here, so again, this is one of the hardest ways for me to get additional and higher lore. But it is both consistent with the character that we're playing, Lord Stabbe, who's got a much more direct approach to things and is maybe not so content to sort of sit back and ponder the meaning of certain types of lore. In this particular case, the higher level lore is that's kind of our current focus right now. It's our current goal. And so if I say, well, the easier path is to read a book, it's like, fine, but it's still a meandering path to our current goal of getting the highest edge that we can. In fact, there is a small argument to be made that we could try subverting the lantern in certain ways and turning it into edge. So actually, sorry, I think I should do one of these. And I believe that it's forge. Oh, but then I think forge turns into edge, does it not? Yeah, it's forge to edge, which is actually rather good to know because we're short of forge lore. We'd actually need 2 levels to be able to turn that. Cool. Sorry, I'm working out the relationships between the different principles again. So, all of the greatest struggles end in death. The lore of the knife holds the lessons of those struggles. We've got everything we need for these. We're just going to need to make sure that we respond to the prompts in time. Auctioneer's gavel bangs. My item has sold. So, one nice thing here is that in 42 seconds I should be able to send my Callagine off to handle the exploration. I would have preferred to do something like Streets Strange by Moonlight, because then I would be able to explore it myself and find the potentially get some knock. But in this case, I think this is a better way of preserving the Callagine. Okay, and we have a Season of Visions coming up, so I want to be a bit careful in terms of what sorts of actions I'm going to be taking. Here's another Who Would Ascend Before Me. So, not too worried about this. They may provoke some notoriety, but we've got a pretty reliable way of handling that. Sick room grows close and stale. It's time to get up. So, we're still going to wait 18 seconds for the Callagine, but the dream slot is available, so before we lose our resources, let's take care of the betrayed followers. In my dreams I know the path through the silken sands to the spider's door. If I slake its thirst by spilling fresh blood before I sleep, it will open for me. Once I open up the talk verb, I'm probably going to have another chat with my forge followers to repair the mirror. And this fleeting reminiscence is only going to last us a minute, so I'm not sure if I'm willing to take a risk on getting fascination. We'll see. So, crowded thoroughfares by day, a fog-wrapped labyrinth by night. I'll set my minions to searching for opportunities. And let's give Laidlaw a chance to do some work. Valsine is very good at repairing. We always use her, but let's change it up a bit. Significant conversations in a smoky meeting room. What do I need from my follower? We can begin to repair this, but it will take at least a bronze Spentrea to purchase the necessary materials. And, of course, we'll continue to go back to the Institute just because it seems to be the best way of, for me at least, it seems the best option in when we're prepping. Right, here's another who to send before me. Sorry, we read that before, but my arrival intends to end a hunter. This may be to my advantage, but it may also draw attention. And our first challenges come up. So they would like erudition. I guess this is the staler of the two. There's our old and happy far off things. We'll probably try and use this to get rid of our staleness. I don't really, that's not even really an option right now, simply because I just don't have that much reputation. Now, one drawback about Street Strange by Moonlight that I didn't really consider was the fact that I'm currently trying to use my Callagine for other things. So, actually, I wonder if I can get a Callagine to repair a mirror. I'm guessing I can't, but I should test that. So in this case, I'm going to do another search the city. It may mean that Street Strange by Moonlight goes away, which would be a bit of a shame, but it is preferable to... Like, there's a few different things that are going to be coming up. For instance, I want to get rid of the restlessness. That Season of Visions won't touch me because we've already got this one. There's another Street Strange by Moonlight. So we'll keep running this until the talk verb becomes available. Aha, there it is. Is that it? Okay, pounding airs. I believe if it comes to the actually, now that I think of it, this might wind up giving me a lore. No. Blaze of Radiance. Every color has grown bright as new dye, but not all of them. But now all of them begin to bleed towards white. So this will become a fascination, which is a potential liability, but we have a few ways of dealing with this. Last night in the Mansis, I visited the Mallory, from whose impulses and rotations one does not emerge unchanged. There are many radiances there, from the fires and the forge, and her names and her instruments, but one radiance lingers behind them. Sorry, let's try that again. Last night in the Mansis, I visited the Mallory, from whose impulses and rotations one does not emerge unchanged. There are many radiances there, from the fires and the forge, and her names and her instruments, but one radiance lingers behind them all like a fading music, the last light of the sun in splendor shed in the moments of his division, here where the forge is strongest. Now I have awoken, I see that radiance still. I should probably make a decision with what I'm doing with the dream slot, and I think we're just going to go straight back to the spider's door. So a half-glimpsed wistfulness has touched me. Lots of Street Strange by Moonlight. Of course, now that we're wrapping up the repair, I suspect we're going to wind up in a situation where we have to hire someone. Our follower needs a bronze spintrea or better to complete their task. The other reason I've been a little more casual about commissions is we're doing all right as far as spintrea are concerned. Obviously, we could sell off the iron ones if we felt that we were short on money, but we really aren't. Again, this one thing about the physician is that money's not really that big of a problem. The bright young thing you can kind of make that argument for, but the thing is that eventually that money does run out. You don't sort of remain like dad doesn't live forever. So this one you actually have a pretty steady pattern of funding if you require. So I've done some good. My patients are quieter than when I began. So I think the time has come to get a little painting in. I am going to use this Mystique. It is quite likely we're going to generate a fascination out of this because of so much passion, but we'll see. You never know, this might be a living. So we'll paint with Restlessness. We will spend money for the paints. In this case, I'm doing all right as far as cash is concerned. And we will also bring on the hireling because we do need something to feed to the spider door. Alright. And provide dread or silent intensity, or a pit. I could spend money on better paints, or perhaps I could find more exotic pigments. Mirrors are calm, the sun is steady, the glory recedes. I'm saying if that means anything. No fascination drives your visions, it's over for now. And we've got our Wildering mirror back. So once we're done with the hireling, we'll get the Callagine talking again. And another season of suspicion, so we're fine. This is a great reason not to go out and take any prisoners. Okay, that's already down to 6. If I want, I can use that influence in a... Oh, I did not know that you could get a favor from authority from the spider door. That's very interesting. So yeah, I'm not too worried about the influence. Even if it turns into a fascination, I can probably deal with it. The bigger worry would be if I knew that I had a season of visions coming up. So if that happens, then we'll take one of our hangers on. But I think we've got a number of different ways of handling that without sort of using our escape. So again, we'll go back to the Mallory. We now know that there's the potential for fascination through the form of lantern influence, but I don't know. We tend not to avoid lantern influence in pretty much any other location, so it doesn't seem to make that much sense to do that here. Well, it turns out we would have just directly got fascination anyway. So last night in the Mansis, I visited the Mallory, from whose hammers and crucibles one does not emerge unchanged. And for 9 beats my heart ceased while it entered the fires of the forge, and the passions of the forge entered into it. I woke with the dawn, and its poor divided colors inspire memories of the forge's passion for the sun, of the vagabond's curse, of the Grail's deep longing, so many half-memories. So we're actually doing a pretty good job of... We normally get the unresolved ambiguities by not going further through the Peacock's door, but we've done all right for ourselves here. So nothing to really do with the dream slot right now. Again, there's the small worry that we may need to use the fleeting reminiscence, but we'll kind of stay the course for now, and we will use the Wilding Mirror. The Peacock's door reflects the mirror as I hold it in my sleep, and the mirror reflects the Peacock's door. Already a sensuous shiver ripples its surface. It aches for fracture, and when it finds that satisfaction, I will enter. I've created something distinctive and beautiful. It will very likely enhance my reputation. Okay, so true to form, we did get the fascination. I believe at that point I'm going to use this fleeting reminiscence. So the mystique... Actually, it just occurred to me that I may wind up with some notoriety because of the hunter's action. So this might get a little more complicated than I thought, but it is going to give me something to do with the Callagine if it comes to that. So still have the staleness, sadly, but we did make some money, so it's not all bad. Again, we won't betray the shifty woman right away because we do not want to provoke notoriety. I think we'll just keep it... we'll keep the newer one. Or sorry, the newer one. It's a puzzle with missing pieces. I might find those pieces in the odd corners of scholarship, and we give up our health. Oh, all right. This may give me breathing space, but it may ultimately bring the Suppression Bureau to my door. How am I going to get rid of this thing? Well, the answer is we're not. Right now, we just need to hope that the Mystique does that for us. I will be able to do a ritual in 46 seconds. Okay, Season of Despair, nothing too much to worry about. So, glimmering from my efforts. There it is. Is that it? Okay, Fascination's coming up. We don't have the Fleeting Reminiscence anymore, so I want to keep an eye out for that. No point in taking the Splendor, so let's try the Red Church. Now, this may produce a Fascination, but it's better than the alternative of producing a Dread, given the fact that I believe we have a Season of Despair coming up. Okay, so Amaranthine Nectar is not a bad one to walk away with. One of the Flower Maker's many gifts. In a brighter age, it might have bestowed immortality. In this blighted history, it is still an unparalleled sweetness. When I visited the Red Church last night, they told me, between their clawings and their caresses, that the flower maker had visited but lately with his nectar and his promise. I woke twinned in sodden sheets, with the amaranthine nectar brimming in my hand. I captured what I could of it, only a few drops, but it will be enough. So we're doing very well as far as the Grail ingredients are concerned. So I don't believe the Callagine should be able to repair the mirror. No, but I was interested. Again, this is playing with fire here because this is level 11 moth influence. So if our hunch that the higher intensity of an aspect or principle, the more likely it is to provoke. I've not tested that, by the way, but if that is the case, clearly this is one of the most dangerous conversations I can have for generating things that produce dread. The doors of vision swing wide. A little darkness will mellow my light. Even dread has its uses. So I suppose if we get a fascination out of this, the passage of the Season of Despair should give me a fleeting reminiscence to deal with this, so I shouldn't worry too much. Oops. Well, something expired. Alright, so let's try and I believe the corpse will turn into notoriety, so let's try and summon something instead. I always struggle a little with this one because I know there's only a few... Can't be the Beast Division. Yeah, there's only certain... there we go. Okay. The rite of the crow's quenching. This rite calls on the beach crow at sunrise or moonrise. The crow accepts the sacrifice and returns with gifts of the earth. So I believe I would still need knock. Oh, I also need an influence. So I'm going to do minor just on the hope that this thing doesn't actually work. The sun in rags brings beautiful endings. This sudden and perilous magic will end someone or something, but it's impossible to know what. It will also kill any mortal or spirit that assists with the ritual. Uh-oh. Sorry, Leo. You're calling only a minor degree of winter, so this will often fail. Call in at least 10 winter to increase your chances, though it might be safer if it does fail. Well, that's what we're hoping for. That's a pretty big sacrifice if I'm trying to avoid some notoriety. So. This is maybe a good example of Lord Stabbe's directness having negative consequences. It's a little too eager to find the direct path, and so Leo is potentially a casualty of a foolish practice. With pain is a teacher, they say, especially if they aren't in pain. Health has been injured. Alright, well, there's a fascination I need to deal with. Visions pass me with pavane grace, a window over a wood, a garden of ice, a shivering sun, a woman of glass. I will return home with reluctance. So we're still gonna plug away. And we don't have the Wildering Mirror available to us, so I'm going to go through... Sorry, I just need a second to think this through. Yes, the stag door is still where I want to be. My dreams enter the path through the stag door, through the bays of the bounds. Gearby will let me pass, but the path is always a puzzle. I will need reason. The stag door is the Adept's Gate. To pass it is to be initiated into the first true mystery of the House of the Sun. The head, Gearby, weeps to see me enter where it cannot, but it must let me pass. The scarred valves of the door grind open. No! Snow is settled on every surface in my work chamber. The fire gives no heat, but I cannot extinguish it, nor can I extinguish the candles which burn with red nimbus and gold flame and a heart of black. As the ritual reaches its climax, someone somewhere will conclude. I just made it worse for myself. So I now have 2 fascination, 1 less follower, and a dread. So we actually now have a game-losing amount of fascination and no direct way of getting rid of it because of the that ritual. So that was a major blunder on my part. But we will work through it. So one of the ways that I can... the dread will be the easiest thing to deal with. So, work at the Institute. There is a dank and clinging smell to the Institute halls that never quite leaves one. Perhaps it is the paint, perhaps it is the patience, perhaps it is something in the walls. Increase my mastery of the lore of the knife, which we call by its aspect edge. So, here... Whoa! The alignments of murder. These are the arts that ensure an ending. So this is 12 intensity. Again, this is still combined with the combined with Betty's blade. That's still not going to be enough. We need that that highest level, but we're getting closer. Now, study-wise, I think it's time for us to start consulting some texts. So let's start in the mountains as upon the plain. In the mountains as upon the plain, there may not be a path where none has passed. A work by Nangala of Lagash. Lock the study door, the work begins. Talk-wise, we've already got our notoriety, so let's... Oops. Let's just put it all in one go. This one must serve another purpose now. Into the cupboard they go. Okay, this is what we were looking for with the subtle fracture, so we don't need to worry about Street Strange by Moonlight anymore. Let's send the Callagine off to search the city. We are going to have to get the Callagine to destroy some evidence, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. I've locked this one away safely. When their screaming and raving subsides, I will subdue them properly. And let's get Tristan to talk about the mirror. We can begin to repair this, but it will take at least a bronze spintrea to purchase the necessary materials. So I've never really had that. Sort of that ritual that we just did work before. So now that I know, like, the aim was to try and get rid of the corpse and the influence, and clearly it would have been better to just simply spike the influence with a hanger-on and then either let the corpse turn into notoriety or do a proper ritual to make the corpse rise. But again, you only learn by experimentation, and we have what I'll call the lore reason for why it turned out the way that it did. So in 32 seconds after working at the Institute, we'll use the subtle fracture to summon a percussagant. Here's another who would ascend before me, and also getting some... You're going to need to pay for quite a bit of medicine. Okay, we will do the Ascent of Knives. And there's our Furious Air. Anger is implicit in every shape. A 10th order influence, a gathering knot of power and peril. This could be used in some rites to summon minions. So, we just hit a magic moment, if you look carefully. Although, I am going to pull this mirror out. Of the place my dreams took me last night, this has been written. The ascent is glass, the walls are knives, each step is blood. I did not climb far, the pain was too great. When I woke, that pain remained with me, a pain that I could employ to occult purposes if I hurry. So let's heal up the injury first, because I'm going to be going through the stag door quite a bit more. The original reason why I would normally want to go through the stag door is if I get one of these edge influence. Basically what I need is heart influence, edge influence, or knock influence, but can't get, well, I guess I can't get heart influence from the stag door either. But normally I use this to summon the percussivant, but we already have the subtle fracture for that. So this is going to get used in recruitment. I've done some good. My patients are quieter than when I began. So let's take our sunset right. Subtle fracture. Big heart. Well, I guess big edge too, but percussivant, merciless and merry. Heart will bring it, edge will constrain it. And arrival is at their business in the shadows. They're still in hiding. What exactly are they up to? I prepared the text for study. The text, they just added the words here. Naingala of Lagash describes the secrets to be found in mountains. So I'm going to, I believe this one provides dread. What I'm going to do here is I will translate it, but I'm not going to worry about, like I'll translate these and I'll read them when I'm not sort of susceptible to certain seasons. So, on the matters and deeds of serpents, this was probably the prophecies of the Naga rendered into English, illustrated by William Midnight in Paris in the 1880s, but it shows a number of divergences from that text. It's certainly quite recent by the standards of VAC texts. So again, translate but not read until we're in a better state. If we get a season of visions, I'm gonna freak out a little bit. Nothing then. Okay, so let's save Connie for last. In fact, let's bring in Natalia for a start. So, Furious Air. The alignments of murder. Interesting. You must include one tool as a gift to the independent. Okay. So that changes things quite a bit, actually. Like I need to find lots of places. I need to find lots of, oh, hang on. Okay. I do have an idea about, in fairness, the game even told me you have to include a tool as a gift. So I have some ideas. However, I also think it means that I'm not going to be able to recruit all of these renegades. So let me just maybe make sure that this is true for everyone. So I was wrong in thinking that I could use the influence. It does make me wonder, though. So, if this is the case, it actually feels like there are very, very few. There are very few things that I can use to bring in these renegades. So I've potentially created quite a few problems for myself by creating all these renegades. Yeah. Okay. We will... I think Tristan was going to do a repair job for me. All right. Explore the city with health or no. The entrance is lost beneath soft drapes of crimson, cinnabar, and intercardinine. Above the door, the club motto, Engi rum imis noc teet consumi marigni. It has been rendered as, into the night circle we fly until the fire enjoys us. I can't talk about the Callagine, so... Callagine's going to not expire, but is going to decay. I am certain that my adversary has lodged a copy of their notes elsewhere, with their solicitor, with their superior, or even with a contact in the press. This is troubling. Okay, so I need to be careful about the Cali. Where I can, it would be good to use the Caligine. Dancer pressed a red glass cup to my mouth. Its lip was sharp. My mouth is bleeding, but the wine within was a strong wine. Okay, so this is going to generate a fleeting reminiscence, which we can use to extinguish one of the fascination. And then I think there was another thing that was going to do that. I've kind of lost the plot though, so I'm going to explore with the Caligine for a bit. Dream-wise, I don't have any options yet. I am lucky with this vitality. I didn't realize that was kicking around. I do have an idea about what I want to do with the rousing air. I'm just trying to think if now is the right time for it. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. So what do I want to do with Dream now that I know what I know? So Edge Influence doesn't give me what I thought it gives me. It can't go through the Peacock door yet. The Spider's door... Yeah. Spider's door is always thirsty, always. The blood I have given leaks in threads and spills through the skin of the world, and the door drinks it, and the moment's satisfaction swells its opening until I can pass. Alright, well, I'll keep hiring him. Really bad at keeping this in order. Alright, first the thump, the rattle and cry of the ceremonies that attends in the wood. Now here it is, shouldering its way through the world's skin, like a clawed and ruthless uncle or a headless flapping bear. So, we're ready to start going on some expeditions. My rival has been up to some kind of mischief. The Suppression Bureau may take note. I am now going to do a painting. But it's going to be a different one. Nope. And I just signed myself up for World of Pain. So, I was originally going to say, okay, yeah, so we'll just do a painting for Edge to use as a tool. Then it occurred to me that I don't have the material. So this is going to generate fascination at a time I'd rather not. But I have my fix. I prepared the text for study. Oh, have I ever got my fix? Okay, so we're going to read on the matter of deeds and serpents now. The serpent folk, called the Great Hooded Princes, came to know the order called the House of Leith and warred across the miles with them. They made an alliance with the mother of ants, whose children they had been. Followers at work on the mirror. Okay, so we only have one more of these to deal with. Here we will use the Great on Oil. If despair prowls elsewhere, no dread empowers this despair, it's over for now. So I need to betray the swindler reasonably soon. All that I am is here. An incandescence change follows fire. 15th order influence. This might be the personal attention of an hour. It can be used in some rites to summon hands. Last night in the Mantis, I visited the Mallory, from whose engines and avenues one does not emerge unchanged. I watched the process of sunset, and I entered the amber joy, and the white joy, and the blue joy, and I was subjected to the enlightenments of calcination. The Forge of Days touched me with her burnished fingers, and I rise from my bed with the utter knowledge that all nights must end. Okay, I've got 116 seconds left on the vitality, so the first thing I want to do is try and kill the fascination. This, of course, is now going to create inconvenience as far as the dread that I'm about to generate goes. Okay, the mirror is repaired. It shines again as it did once before. So let's betray the swindler. This one must serve another purpose now. Into the cupboard they go. So we'll wait that out. Now I'd love to betray this follower right away, but I need to get the Callagine on the job. So not everything from the Mantis can speak, but everything can understand mortal speech, even once it has passed the white door. And we do have a season of ambitions coming up, so normally I would be using the explore verb for a new location, but if I do that, I potentially lose it. So we're going to send the percussivant to go look for more dupes. Crowded thoroughfares by day, a fog-wrapped labyrinth by night. I'll set my minions to searching for opportunities. I made something unique, something extraordinary, something that I will never dare exhibit publicly. This cannot possibly ever see daylight. It will earn no funds. Alright, so the original plan... Well, actually, you know what? This is still going to kill that fascination, so that's still good. Oh yeah, we've got Glimmering Contentment. That's not bad. An Icy Atmosphere. Dread. Plenty of notoriety. I'm assuming I still have the staleness. Yep. And the Wolf Divided painting. Caput Gerat Lupinum. The sun was divided, and this is its wound. Okay. I'm going to go work at the Institute again. There's a dank and clinging smell to the Institute halls that never quite leaves one. Perhaps it is the paint, perhaps it is the patience, perhaps it is something in the walls. So if I seem hesitant on a few of these things, I've got a few plates spinning. So just a quick review of what I'm up to right now. We're trying to get rid of the Season of Visions. That'll happen through the Dread. Now I've got Dread from the reading on the Matter of Deeds and Serpents. So I'm going to be able to use this contentment to get rid of this Dread. But now we've got an Icy Atmosphere. So how do I get rid of that one? Well, I need to generate contentment through some other means. But of course, I'm going to have the Explore verb that's taken up with the expedition. So... Oh, you're planning on going on an expedition? I wouldn't have known from the way that you're playing. Well, again, we haven't taken a look for the vault because we keep getting seasons of ambitions. So once we know that a renegade is not going to sort of ninja our vault out from under us, then we can actually work on the expedition. And of course, all the while, I still need to destroy the tentative evidence. My scheme will most likely succeed. There is always a chance that something will go awry. So the good news here is, because we have the incandescence, it's pretty easy to summon a Callagine again if it perishes. The text describes how the great hooded princes escaped, or will escape, from the fifth history, where they had died, or were doomed to die. They engaged in a secret conquest of the land of the Great River, called India in some histories, and have ensured that all other conquests of that land are false conquests. And here we've jumped quite a bit higher with our knock, so the formula Ophidian. Serpents are the visitors which may not be denied. Okay, study-wise, the question is, do I want to read in the mountains, or do I want to do something else? I still have vitality to deal with the affliction, and I don't really need anything else. So yes, let's read up. Mangala tells of lively stories about riddling ogres and wars between mountain tribes, but turns somber in the tales of the empty-handed hunter, a lover of the Grail who sought to match her appetites and join her as an hour, but in the end rent and devoured himself, giving his name to the mountains he had once roamed. Okay, Street Strange by Moonlight. It's a little early for me to give up on the percussive, so we'll send him in again. Send it in again. I'm not quite sure if percussivants are boys or girls, or if that even means anything. Alright, what hungers drive us, and we've got kind of a free turn coming up, which is a very welcome break. I need to start managing some of this stuff. How much time do we have? I think I will risk one more run with the percussivant. And we don't know what the scheme is yet. Okay, so we'll take our dread and combine it with the contentment. Oh, but if I do that, I can't heal the affliction with vitality. We got plenty of time with the affliction, so it'd be nice to use the vitality. It does save me a little money, but money isn't everything. I wait word. And this is a scheme to murder a hunter is afoot. Okay, well, now we can use that explore. My minion is not returned. They have failed, and their blundering may have attracted attention. Okay. So that really doesn't work for me because the forge power is going to go down. So let's do this in the right order. Nagala claims that the owls who sometimes manifest as birds, the laughing thrush, the ivory dove, the beach crow, and the witch and sister, meet at a secret location on a mountaintop to exchange gossip unheard by their peers. Now and then, a mortal overhears them. The mortal is always obliterated, and the meeting place always changed. So, an unresolved ambiguity and centipede testament. Alright, so there's not a whole lot for me to do with the study verb right now. There's a couple things that I can do in the long term. But I suppose that isn't the worst outcome, because now I can just use fresh air and exercise. Long walks kill cobwebs. I've locked this one away safely. When their screaming and raving subsides, I will subdue them properly. I don't think I have any dread left. Mirrors are calm, the sun is steady, the glory recedes. I'm saying if that means anything. No fascination drives your visions, it's over for now. Okay, so yes, that's technically true, but I've got 30 seconds before I generate another. So let's do a recruitment. Someone is ready. So we'll buy their loyalty for now. Tough call. I think I'm just going to keep the percussivant kicking around. And yeah, this is a scheme to murder a hunter, so let's get that forbidden epic. Although it is going to be exposed a little bit. It's going to be exposed a little bit longer than what I would want. Those stories that have been forbidden are the ones most apt for us to read, William Gore. So the problem here is that I'm going to need to summon the Callagine again, and the Callagine... excuse me. You know what? I'm going to risk it. The Callagine may not be fully summoned from this trembling heat. We may wind up in a situation where it resists the summoning. Before they speak the words, the novice must sharpen a knife so it can separate a drifting thread, and it be not sharp enough, it will be the worse for them. So this one is loyal but lacks initiative. Okay. Still got 6 seconds. I can chat with the percussivant, but before I do that, let's betray the hulking fellow. So I'm going to serve another purpose now. Into the cupboard they go. And finally, we will take our sunset rites, the trembling heat. Slee is not a knock follower. We'll grab Neville and some winter. Forge for the smoky spirit, summoning winter for its binding. It must know who will rule it. And I've neglected my studies, but I stand a little straighter. So, saved a little bit of money there. I suppose the next question is there something that I want to... So we're getting close to the end of the time. Evidence-wise... It's not a good position, but we're going to be able to manage it. If I want to do summonings, I suppose I can do Street Strange by Moon Knight, but really what I want to do is try and tie up my summons for as long as possible. So I think the study verb just kind of hangs out for a little bit. I mean, I suppose I can try upgrading the Centipede Testaments and such. So much notoriety. Okay, so we're going to keep chatting with the percussivant. Yeah, I should actually make that decision in terms of how I'm going to use the study verb. Season divisions, we will be fine. Okay, so if I were to upgrade lore, I've got the Centipede Testament, which will need... okay, that I can cover. Glimmerings or a Sanctuary. And Fascination. Okay, so the Centipede Testament's going to be particularly difficult. The Formula Vigilant we can cover with our Passion. We can with our Health, although that costs money. And Glimmerings. Okay, so I think we can move up the Formula Vigilant without too much trouble. Let's start with that. If I propose to learn anything, I wouldn't be reading this stuff. Voivode's Citadel. Okay, I don't need to explore at the moment. I think it probably makes a bit more sense for me to keep this open so that I can move the percussagant in there. Assuming that the summoning doesn't completely blow up. Someone has failed to murder a hunter. Well, that's not too bad. Oh, of course, we get rebellious spirit. Okay. So we'll send it home. Especially given the fact that we've already lost Leo, I don't think I can afford to lose another follower. So this may ultimately bring the Suppression Bureau to my door. I mean, it's really no worse than I already was at. Sick room grows close and stale. Time to get up. So I guess the next question is how do I get that percussagant? So it seems to me the stag door is probably the best bet here. In my dreams I know the path to the stag door. Through the maze of the bounds, Gearby will let me pass. But the path is always a puzzle, and I will need reason. And we'll continue to explore with the percussagant. Okay. If it was a season of ambitions, I would have been very upset. The wolf despair prowls elsewhere. No dread empowers this despair. It's over for now. And I think on this note, I'm going to call it for tonight because we are at the 1 hour mark. So, I mean, it's a little, I feel a little bad because I had said that I was going to, so the aim was progress, and we did achieve the thing that we were looking for, which was to get the higher level lore and to use it in conjunction with influence in order to try and recruit a troublemaker. But because I'd obviously read that before, but I didn't put enough attention to the fact that you need to give them an instrument or a tool. I just clearly that had consequences. In this case, I put a lot of effort into achieving something that was impossible. Now that I think a little bit more of it, I believe you are actually given some pretty powerful edge items in some of these locations. So obviously the goal stays the same. Do as many expeditions as possible without losing them to the renegades, and that's going to be what we can't exactly do because we don't have the percussagant yet. I mean, we technically don't need the percussagant, but it's nice to have 2 summons just to act as screeners. But I don't know, if I get sufficiently impatient, I suppose I can try and try with some of my existing cult members. But I think looking forward, ransack as many locations as I can, continue to try and pursue study where possible. And we definitely need to prepare. We're kind of implicitly preparing for a period of time where we wouldn't necessarily be, where these renegades would be kicking around. But we're very, very clearly in a spot now where we don't have an easy way of getting rid of them anytime soon. So summons, expeditions, and hopefully that will give us a few texts. But all of that will be happening in the oncoming weeks. I know we're getting close to Christmas. I'm going to try and do a regular cadence of updates, but I definitely wish you that, or whatever your regional, spiritual, or any other equivalent is. I guess until next time, thank you very much for watching.